ladies and gentlemen, we've got to show our dignitaries the energy that we have. This ain't one of those normal conferences. We give power, passion, commitment to whatever we do. Let's bring the house down with the energy to show the world this is not a normal conference. First up, in our panel discussion for empowering art digitally, I'd like to call the moderator, Mr. Anand Desai, MD, DSK Legal, on board, please. Mr. Anand Desai. Before our next set of dignitaries come, we have a small audio visual to show. Ladies and gentlemen, live and direct at NCPA, I'd like to call two very special people on stage, Madhuri Dixit, Nene, and Dr. Nene on stage, please. Hello, ma'am. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Great to have you with us. And Mr. Desai, take over, please. All right, and great to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And first of all, let me thank Dr. Nene and Madhuri for being with us. It's been amazing for me to find out what they've been doing in terms of changes in the way technology allows them to deliver dance as a lifestyle, if I may put it that way. Madhuri is actually not feeling very well, so I'll do most of the talking with Dr. Nene, but I would request her to chip in whenever she feels appropriate. I don't know how many of you have seen the app or the website of what you just saw the small clip about. But I think it's just touching the tip as to what is really being done by these two wonderful people. And I'm going to first just request Dr. Nene to tell us how he embarked, or how both of them embarked on this journey of setting up a new way of delivering teaching and opportunities for people who may not otherwise have the ability to access these.
So thank you for having us here, and I'm sorry we're late. Traffic was bad, and it was a 22-hour trip from the Bay Area, which we got in at 4:30 this morning. But anyway, it's a pleasure to be here. I spoke to Anand a little bit about this earlier today, and the vision was simple. We had been in the US, and for me, what that meant was practicing hardcore medicine, heart surgery, and doing 500 cases a year, whatnot. But the issue is we couldn't scale it, and in 2011, we came back to India to hope that we could make a difference using a combination of media technology and brick and mortar. And for me, that meant scaling medicine to 7 billion people. Along the way, my wife said to me one night that, you know, what you see in theaters and in cinema is often not art, it's commercialism. And for me, I've been practicing dance since the age of 3, and if I could just teach it, I could make a difference. And I said, well, look, that's sort of the same issues which we were facing, that if I practice, you could only touch 2, hearts a day. And whereas if you try to create something, you could scale medicine to more people. So I said, maybe we can create something which would, bring that together. And for some of you who don't know, I did some software entrepreneurship before I went to med school. And so I tried to combine both suits. So in 2013, we were able to rapid prototype and launch a program called Dance with Madhuri. And her vision was simple, that everyone should have access to learn how to dance from the masters, move and stay fit, and unite with the world and get jobs. And this was one of my pet peeves. Growing up in the US, my Maharashtrian parents said that you either become a doctor or engineer or your life's over, right? And the truth is, as Indians all over the planet, we not only survive, but we dominate because of our hard work and our genuine integrity to doing the right thing. So this was no different. We weren't sure how this would take off, whether we could teach remotely or whether it would be something people would use. And within the first day when we launched it, all our servers on Amazon crashed. That's a testament to her brand, clearly. But over a year, we had about 100,000 users, about 6 million page views, and that too with no marketing. We didn't really have a marketing budget. And so we did some barter deals with various things and were able to drive traffic. But what we were seeing was incredibly encouraging. We were getting uploads from all over the planet. And some of the interesting points which we garnered were 50% of our users were from India, and 50% were from outside of India. And all told, they were from 206 countries worldwide. And so that encouraged us. And in 2014, we went back and we redesigned the back ends. And by now, her Facebook sites and Twitter had taken off, and she now has 22 million followers or likes on Facebook and another 4 million on Twitter. So when she puts a call to action, all of a sudden we get a storm surge of 100,000 concurrent users, which you can imagine wreaks havoc on the servers. So we had to redesign all of this stuff and make it so that it could handle 1 million concurrent users. At the same time, we filmed out a huge amount of back-end material, and we were finding we were getting 500 UGC uploads, in other words, user-generated content. So people were not only learning, but they were showing us what they'd learned. I don't know if we can cue the one video.
We can try. Just
Okay.
figure that out.
This is the Aja Nachle video. And what it shows very clearly is her lesson in gory detail. But what it also shows is each of the users from all over the planet uploading their actions. And so that was proof in the pudding to us that we could teach remotely and that people would learn. So in May of 2015, we relaunched the new version, which you're seeing here. And within 5 months, we've had about 1 million registered users, about 5 million video views, 4.1 million minutes of video viewed, and 7.5 minutes on site. So the idea is simple, right? That people everywhere should have access to learn, that they should be able to be discovered, and that they should be able to come to the forefront. And it shouldn't just be in the audition halls of Mumbai or Delhi or New York or LA, but it should be everywhere. And that's what we've tried to do with all of this.
Madhuri, if I can ask you, the passion to teach for a person who's been such a wonderful performer, such a popular star, teaching is not quite in sync with that. So what took you to teaching rather than performing and apart from being a housewife, of course, but I'm saying in terms of a career change?
First of all, good evening to all of you, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be here. I'm sorry I'm not feeling very well. I wonder how many people have migraines here, and I'm having one right now. So, but to answer your question, for me, I've learned dancing since I was 3 years old, and for me, like I always say, acting is my first love, but dance is a passion. And it makes me happy. Dancing makes me happy. It keeps me fit. It gives me joy. And I think it gives joy to the people who are watching as well. And somehow I wanted to share this passion with other people. I thought, why not share this happiness? And you reach a stage in your career when you want to give back and you want to say that, oh, my fans have done a lot for me, I need to do something for them as well. Dance is very integral to our culture. Whenever there's happiness, like there's a marriage, people dance. You win a cricket tournament and you start dancing. So it comes very naturally to everyone. The thing is, you just need to encourage them and you need to get them out of that shell. And, that's how the passion to teach came, because I thought, what are the problems when you want to learn dancing? What are the problems? The first is access, because you don't know who to go to, what is good, and you don't have the time to travel, to go there, to do your classes and come back. And all these were solved when we put it online, because you can do it at your own convenience. You can, and we have tried to get the best of gurus, because I know it's very important to get good teachers. I was fortunate that I got them. Not only in my Kathak classical dancing, where I've learned from Maharajji also, Birju Maharajji. Saroj Khan was a big, talent that I got to work with and learn a lot from. And so for me, it was very important that we have good teachers. So all these things kind of came together, and I thought that, is it possible to do something like that? And that's how the idea of Dance with Madhuri came by.
So did any of the masters react saying, oh my God, you can't teach on the internet, you have to be there in person?
Well, everybody was, can you really teach, on the internet? Because you're not in front of the person, literally. You're teaching remotely. But, when we did it and we got all these uploads to my app site, and it kind of showed that you can teach. Yes, it's a different experience when you have the teacher right in front of you, but I think this will also be an encouragement for people to go out and actually join a class when they have done this and they've enjoyed themselves doing it,
I think technology allows you to also then give opportunities for these people to put forward their skills and maybe get opportunities to get jobs and to earn money. Can you describe that a bit?
Sure. So it's twofold. I wanted to add one thing. There's three different areas we're hitting in, but with what you're referring to, you are essentially creating a services marketplace. And if people didn't get discovered, if you can't see what you're getting, give you an example. You go on Amazon, right? You have 10 items with the same qualifications, and each of them you can see, almost touch and feel, but not quite. Maybe we'll get there at some point, but the issue is you can see them, compare them, do all of that. Each one of our users becomes an artist, and they're in a journey because we've gamified and socialized how we're doing it. And when you gamify education, you're moving people towards the road for lifelong learning because you're making it fun, all right? So this is a paradigm shift on how we learn in India and how we learn overseas. The other part of this, though, is that as they learn, they get points and they move up the scale from a, we used classic Sanskrit and we called it a beej, which is the seed, all the way to the natraj, and there's stages in between. And people who are their followers see that evolution. So there's a Facebook type interface we've developed, and they can discuss it with them. Eventually what happens is in the Unite section, there's a jobs listing, and if Yeshraj tomorrow needs 100 dancers, they put in a job request, and they find these dancers from all over the planet. And so whether it's for a studio, whether it's for a shadi, whether it's for a classroom, whatever you need it for, it becomes a services marketplace. And so they truly learn, move, and unite. They learn from the portal, they become marketable, and then they get the opportunity to be exposed and discovered from all over. The differentiator, though, and this is critical, is that it's not just Mumbai that we're seeing, it's 206 countries. And so all of a sudden now, you are leveling the playing field and finding people. We've got numerous examples. There's some videos which we can show you. We had a user from Azerbaijan, who's not even Indian, learned Gagra and Ajanachle, applied for Cine Stars for a competition, got on the show, and actually won the show. And she had been a dancer before, so give lots of credit to her. But the issue is that we had proven the fact that you can learn and you can actually use those skills and get into it. And it would give the average person the ability to get training from the masters and stay in shape, move, and that's another thing, and then unite with the world and get jobs.
So I think what we heard earlier, that people dance when they celebrate, they dance when they're emotional in a positive way. But they also get fit, as Dr. Nene said just now. So do you see a lot of interest in people just wanting to use dance as a fitness regime, as a therapy? Do you get feedback of that kind?
Yes, when we did, when we picturized a lot of songs and the teachings, we thought that, not everybody would like to learn to dance. So maybe some people would like to dance just to keep fit. And so we had a little thing called Dance-a-size, where we put like heart rate monitors on me. And it's a 17-minute class, I think, and I lost like 350 calories in 17 minutes. And so we put that on the app, and I think it got the highest number of hits. So I'm sure that people would like to, dance to keep fit, because it does keep you fit, and there's so much research going on where they are talking about, treating Alzheimer patients with music and dance, and the memory gets better and stuff like that. So I think, yes, dance is absolutely great for keeping fit, and I think you would like to talk about it.
As a doctor?
I mean, it's fairly simple, right? Imagine the visual. Would you rather have a beautiful woman goading you to work out, or would you rather be on a treadmill on CNN? You do the math. Need I say more?
So TIE, as you know, is entrepreneurs looking for business opportunities, funding business opportunities. Maybe you can talk a bit about that, because this has really become a huge potential business in terms of you've got the masters to teach, you have students who want to learn dancing, people who want to get fit. Other avenues may open up through this, jobs, etc. So as a business opportunity, the portal, website, app, how do you see that progressing?
So it's interesting, you should ask. The vision was simple, to give everyone the access and ability to come forward. And as I told you, we wanted to be the old-time Raj, where we protected the artisans and allowed them to just ideate and create, where we would help them take care of the financials. But to make it sustainable, we had to develop something which would, counter the tests of time and finances and all that. So we broke it down into 3 different areas. The first was content, right? We had developed over 100 hours of high definition, 1080p, world-class content from some of the best production houses. And obviously, she's at an advantage because she's worked with so many people in the industry over 30 years and developed so many great relationships. And everyone from the masters to the production houses wanted to come on board to see the next generation of artists come forward. And so we were able to syndicate and license that recently to Tata Sky. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to try it out there. In addition to our platforms, which takes it out to 15 million people. And now we're getting requests from all over the world for that. The second is the freemium model on site. And this was an interesting anecdote which I was telling Anand, that when we had it for free, like Facebook or YouTube or some of these things, people were supportive of it. When we actually made it paid, they were even more supportive. And the odd part about it is they said that in India, if you have it for free, no one values it. But when you attach a price tag, people actually think it's worth something more. And so we actually got more subscriptions after we made it a freemium model, with the premium content being in that, and then still having a great deal of that. And then finally, there was a services marketplace, which we've extended. And with time, this will become a very rich marketplace like Amazon or whatnot, where you can book your shadi, book your class, find your choreographer. And unlike the standard fragmented marketplace that's there now, you'll know what you're getting ahead of time, because you'll see their videos, you'll be able to discuss with them what you need to do, you'll see when their classes are offered, you'll be able to book through the apps and everything else. So we think this is a game changer in finding talent, in booking it, in being able to do something and synergize on a different level. But most of all, for the artist, it gives them the ability to do what they want to do, which is to create and ideate and make works of art which are there. And so art for the sake of art becomes reality in a sustainable model.
And it's a very interesting comment. When you offer something free, people don't value it. If it's cheap, they still may not value it. So appropriate pricing, I guess, is something you need to work towards because it's a completely new offering you're giving. So a class with a dance teacher who may not be a master, a class with a master who may not have the time for you versus this. So I think that's just sounds fantastic. And you can spread this to other areas as well, you said, to acting, to other platforms where there is a synergy to go ahead.
Absolutely. We built the IP with gamification and socialization in mind, and you can reskin it, and we're in talks now for the music verticals, the acting verticals, and culture. Similarly, we're in talks with one of the bigger institutions for education, and then at the same time, we've talked to some of the sports guys to teach sports like cricket, football, and tennis. And then for healthcare, my baby, we're working on something which will revolutionize how you get it. But the idea is this: how do you build a community which will come together and dramatically change the way an area moves forward? And what we've done is just provided the technology platform in addition to three things: brand, content, and construct. And when you put all those together and you have the best and brightest from the fields come together to synergize, you build something which is very unusual. And the idea is, I told Anand this, that Indians, whenever they go abroad, will not only survive, but they'll dominate. Why can't we do that at home and take it to the world? This is a program which is the ultimate Digital India, Skill India, and Make in India, and we've taken it abroad. 50% of our users are overseas. And so we're actually showing people that Indian culture is amazing, and that if you learn it and partake in it, you're gonna have a lot of fun. And that's what it's about. Dance is all about happiness, but all of the other regimes are the same. You wanna add any?
About the teaching that you asked me, I know I've been acting in the movies and all that and learning from Sarojji, the best masters. But I tell you, teaching is very difficult because there's some things that I take for granted because I'm a dancer. So yeah, I should know this. But when you're teaching a layman, you have to think about every little step, every little movement that you're going to do. And that time, my respect for teachers really went sky high because I thought, my God, they have to teach to the highest denomination and the lowest. So they have to be fair to everyone who's learning. So yeah, it was a learning experience for me too.
But you shifted, as you said, from acting to teaching. But even within teaching, I imagine unless you had a person who was really clued into technology, it's difficult to put forward a product of this kind.
Yes, I mean, you can have an idea, you can have a passion, but you need someone who can take it forward and make it happen. And the idea was just there, but he actually made it happen.
And to be honest with you, I think every single person in this room understands this. The key is building a great team, right? The idea is to, I'm the first to admit that I'm no expert in dance, right? That's where she comes in. and for that matter, I'm not an expert in Bollywood. I grew up in the US and my understanding of Hindi cinema is limited. What I am an expert in is building teams, whether it was in the operating room with 10 people trying to save someone's life, or whether it was in a small startup with 13 people. Every time you go to bat, every single member on your team is important, and your success is dependent on that. And so I give full credit to my team, including all of the three: business, technology, and production, that have come together, and some of the finest people in the universe, in my opinion. And so that's the fun part of what we do.
Attracting eyeballs to your app and the website was obviously much easier because of the fame that came with the talent. Combining it with business was the next step to produce it and put it out there and make it successful. What about funding? Is this a product that needs significant funding? Because most entrepreneurs say, money, market. Give us those two and we'll succeed. And that's where the challenge really comes. So the market is easier, I understand that. You still need to put it out there, and a product that's good, product that people appreciate. What about funding and expanding this?
So it's a great question. So the first thing was the market reach is pretty significant with a brand like this. And the market for dance, while it may seem niche, is actually not. When we looked at it for healthcare, when we looked at it for learning, it was there. from funding standpoint, we privately funded this because we didn't want to sway our focus. When you take on money from VCs and other people, they will force you into certain pathways to produce an end result which may or may not be your own. The interesting part is, after some cycles of funding, we actually became independent and we're actually profitable. Part of that was from the content licensing, freemium, and some of the service marketplaces. But clearly, we are looking to potentially scale this. And at that point, you know, the idea is to run it like a business. It's a very interesting question because I was just in the Bay Area, and you know, I think all of us will admit to this, that a lot of the digital startups are getting all kinds of money thrown at them without significant results. No significant revenue, no significant profit, certainly, and that too for 8 to 12 years. You look at Facebook, you look at all of these are outliers. But my feeling is simple, that if you have a solid idea and a solid business plan and a solid team, and you can show that you can generate revenue and then scale it, the VCs and all that will come to you. But more importantly, don't ever forget your vision, because the problem is sometimes you'll have to pivot. And we certainly did that early on, from being pure, you know, in the dance realm to joining in a couple of other areas, as well as how to get it out there. One of the issues we faced was 3G and 4G and Wi-Fi in this country are difficult. Overseas, it's a different equation and a different problem set, and we face that as well. But here, in order to take it to the last mile, Tata Sky became a solution, because they go to 15 million households. And so how do you teach these people how to dance? And then the other part is the last mile on ground became the other way around it. So in terms of funding, we're talking now with kind of strategic investors and others to see if it makes sense. And we're talking about Netflix, this, that, the other, people who can scale our reach in separate divisions. So I encourage you as entrepreneurs to see what problem areas and challenges you have and find good advisors in those areas who can address that. And then, as and if you encounter it, if you need to scale in a certain area and it makes sense that it's profitable, then go after it. But to arbitrarily ask for money without a real vision or direction, to me as an investor, doesn't make sense. And we invest in startups as well, as some of you may know. And so I have to be very careful in terms of what we're finding. And with this one, it's become profitable now, and so it's self-sustaining. The real issue is, how do you scale it out? And you know, you can always change things. You can get a better technology team. You can put more on marketing. But you know, as one of my friends, Ronnie Screwwalla, said, make the marketing work for you. He said that whatever you do, make sure that marketing is paying its own bills, because that's another, you know, cash cow, basically.
Would like to add to that in terms of reach?
You know, I have to admit, like, he says he's not a very good dancer. I'm not a very good businessman. I mean, for me, the passion is important, the art is important, the creativity is mine. But I think when it comes to business and how it's going to be run, a lot of things I'm learning now as I go. I'm teaching dance, but I'm also learning a lot from this whole experience and from Dance with Madhuri.
Okay, I'm going to invite questions from the audience, because I'm sure there's a lot of interest in these wonderful people. So, yeah.
So, all right, you just have to put your hands up in the air and we will. So here goes. The dimple lady here. All right, ma'am, what's your name?
Yeah, Sonia Kriplani.
Hi, Sonia Kriplani. What's going on? All right, so your question is aimed at who?
Dr. Nene, you should have known better.
I wonder why.
Dr. Nene, my daughter is doing something called I Transform Care, which is healthcare for diabetics, especially younger diabetics, across Asia, Africa, and Arabia. And she has a platform where she's been teaching with Sofia Vergara for training. We'd love to franchise something like this for the Middle East, Africa's, not necessarily for the diasporas, but as you rightly said, it scales beyond, it's a language of its own. Have you ever thought of franchising opportunities globally?
We have, actually, and we're in talks with various people on each of the continents. You know, the tough part with franchisee and licensee experiences is you have to maintain a standard. And that's the real key to this, that so long as we can maintain a standard, our vision is to take this out to the last mile. And so I think it would be an interesting dialogue. In Dubai, several people have approached us to do the same, as well as in Australia, the US, the UK. And within India itself, we've got a strategic plan to move out to each city. And then more importantly, 70% of the population's in the rural areas. And those are the areas which really lack the level of instruction. And that was why we did this. But the problem is those same areas lack Wi-Fi, 3G, and 4G. That's coming. With Digital India and whatnot, it should be coming. But I think it's absolutely in the plans.
What are the key features you look for in a franchise format?
There's two things we've looked at. One is a Zumba type thing for a licensee for some of our sports programs. And the second is a true franchisee, which has certain levels. So right now, the program has 35 different dance styles with gurus like Biju Maharaji, Suraj Khan, Terence, Remo. Now, in some cases, these guys have their own schools. But the idea is to scale their reach. And for us, it's not about teaching one discipline. It's about covering the gamut and doing it at a level. So when Biju Maharaji teaches the Lucknow Gharana of Kathak, it becomes a seminal experience. And the idea is to train others like him. He's 75 years old. And when he's gone, I mean, he's the biggest proponent of that Gharana. It gives me shivers because we've recorded 15 of his classes. Now, if we can parlay that everywhere else and make sure that the standards are there. And so what we're looking at is bringing the franchisee and training them and going with ongoing training on a month-to-month basis, as well as providing them with music and marketing material, and also setting a tone for the look and feel and what basic services have to be in place.
All right. Next question, please. Put your hands up in the air. We'll decide. All right. Shall we go this side, doctor? Or which side? What's your favorite side?
Let the lady judge.
Okay, ma'am, you tell me. Oh, that's your favorite side? All right, there goes. The gentleman there with that lovely beard. Please stand up.
Dr. Nene, I would like to ask you, I heard that you are investing only in healthcare startups. So like we have idea where we can scan people virtually with their smartphone and apply it to e-commerce and avoid the returns. So you are interested to invest in this kind of startup also?
I think are you as an investor?
Were you asking a question or were you asking him for investment?
That's what I was asking.
So I have a team that handles most of that, and they can get my email, and you can just send it out. And we kind of look at everything. But I think India's ripe, and the issue is that there's so much promise here, and so many problems which we need to solve. And the idea is if it's a good, well-formulated idea with a good team, and they have outcomes which are there, why shouldn't people support them?
And if you get investment from Dr. Nene, you got to give 15% to Tycoon Mumbai, all right? We've set the deal up here. All right, next question, please. I'll come this side. Yes, that ma'am on the first row. Hello. Please stand up. What's your name?
Barkha Dattani.
Oh, wow. That's a heavy name, Barkha, huh? All right, what's your question?
I'll ask her. Yeah. Hi, I'm Barkha Dattani from Barkha's Brand Clinic, and I'm into logo designing. And I've done recently logo for Mr. Amir Khan. So my question is to Madhuri ma'am, that what do you think is the importance of logo in celebrities and actors? Because he gave a lot of importance to that, and he's using it when he goes to international festivals and all that. Yeah.
I think it's important because it's who you are. And I think the logos kind of suggest, and it has to reflect your personality, and it has to reflect, I mean, when people just see the logo, they should kind of get an idea about your personality and what you want to project, and what you want people to look at you as, and what you want to show yourself as to the people. And I think it's very important because both go hand in hand. Like, I think we also took a lot of time to, deciding on the logo for Dance with Madhuri as well.
It's a beautiful
because,
logo.
yeah, it signifies who I am, and it's about dance. And so I think a logo should say a lot about who you are.
So we do have a prospector. Thank you very much.
Listen, everyone's out to crack deals here, man.
It's a business strategy.
That guy wanted investment. She wants to design your logo. Commissions to the anchor as well, huh? All right, next question. Who else? I want questions, not deal cracking happening here, man. All right, the gentleman there who has a lack of hair, which reminds me of my situation in life. So I have a soft corner for you. Please stand up. My friend, it's okay. Don't worry. Okay. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Venkat. Madhuri, this question is for you. My 6-year-old is very passionate about dancing. She loves her dance, and today I came to know about dance with Madhuri, so I'll look up once I'm back home and show her a way. But in the larger scale, I know it's a dirty question to ask, but as a parent, I would ask this because this is how I would talk to my child. How do you see this compensating dance in a larger form? When you're creating a platform, you're creating a business model around dance for people to learn, yes, for passion, but do you really see a future in dance?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I would not be who I am today if, it was not for my dancing and my acting and everything. So it's being creative. And I think dance opens up so many doors. If you see today, there's so many reality shows on dance, and people who come there, they show their talent, they get discovered, and then they move forward in life. So if dance is a passion and she wants to do something really in that realm, then she should do it, and you should encourage her. Because I think the world is not like, Ram said, that it's not just like lawyers, doctors, or blah, 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 only 3 kind of people. But today we have so many other specialties. There's so much happening around the world. And there's opportunity for everything. And that's exactly what we want to do through my platform as well, because we want to discover talent where it lives. I'm sure there are so many talented people in India and abroad who don't have the opportunity to show their talent. They don't know where to go and how they're going to get access to people who will discover their talent. And this is one of the platforms that will do that. And we will discover a lot of people. And it's very important. If your art has to move forward, then we have to have those geniuses to take it forward.
Thank you.
And when you were going to say dirty question, I was going to throw you out of the hall, but that was a clean question. I was very worried. Only clean questions, okay? You naughty fellow. All right, who else? Put your hands up. Who? So no. The lady up there behind, ma'am. Okay, that's your brother. Oh, sorry, your boyfriend. Sorry, your friend. Whatever. What's your name? Utsav, loud and clear, throw your voice. And if they can hear you, we'll have a Utsav here.
Wow.
Utsav, if you look to your right, there's a mic coming to you. Passing the parcel.
So my question is that your aim or objective was to introduce dance in almost each and every person's household, etc., taking the concept of dance to everyone in India and abroad. My thing is, would you want to ever take this offline, start a brick and mortar, and make sure, would you ever want to start a dance academy of your own? Because I'm sure dance is what got you up. Would you ever want to start an academy of your own, a touch point?
Well, I've already started an academy. The only difference is it's online. But you're talking about brick and mortar, that I think it's going to be an eventuality finally. We will be doing something on ground as well.
So one of the things we were talking about was a franchisee model. The issue is very basic, that in India, the last mile connectivity is not perfect. And until it gets to the point where everyone has 3G, 4G, and Wi-Fi, you're not going to be able to penetrate to the people who really need it. So in my estimation, I would say that starting some type of DWM certified or DWM institute would likely be the way around this. But the only difference is that we are building a platform, so you're having all the artists come together under one roof rather than making it just Madhuri. Right? So that's the differentiator, and our goal is a little different in that I want to, basically broaden the category for this particular venture for dance in general. Now, I don't know if you or I are the critical target group, but the idea, to answer in response to his question also, is his 6-year-old daughter wants to learn. But the thing is, who wouldn't want to learn? I mean, I always wanted to learn an instrument when I was younger, and my folks were like, you got to stay with your studies and do this, that, and the other. I played tennis, I did other things, but I think being well-rounded is very important. So no matter where you are, I don't know that I would go into a school to learn, but I would do this because I can do it at home and no one's going to be watching me missing my steps or doing something like that.
And the other aspect, if I can add to that, the variety of dance forms I saw on the website and on the app I don't think you could do that in a physical space because it's such a wide variety.
Yes,
teachers,
it's not
dance forms.
just Bollywood. It's Indian classical, it's Western classical, it's all the Latino styles, everything. Everything under one roof. I mean, whichever style you want to learn, you can go and learn it.
In fact, before you guys came, there was one boy who was dancing very embarrassingly. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Please stand up. You need to watch Dance with Madhuri. Say, promise, I'm going to watch it. He needs help. He really needs you guys. Okay, now, so many hands up. Whoever shouts Dance with Madhuri the loudest gets to ask the question. Same to you. All right, there's this lovely lady here, ma'am. Good evening. What's her name?
I'm Dr. Noreen. My question is for the both of you. Actually, before I ask my question, just like Madhuri ma'am is an actress and you're a doctor, similarly, I'm a doctor and my husband's a lawyer, so two very diverse fields. But similarly, like Madhuri ma'am's, like sir, you're encouraging her business. He encourages my business. So my question basically is I want you to give all the men in this room an advice because I can see very few women over here. But if you can create such a great thing, I'm sure many other women can do if their husbands support them. So I'd like you to give them some piece of advice. To encourage their women to create something like this. Because there are very few women in this room.
Oh, wow. So, ma'am, what's your advice?
I think life is a partnership, right? And the bottom line is you're equal partners. I think the paradigm for living is changing. The original kind of cultural norm was the patriarchal society in India. I think in the metros, at least, most people are both working and you know, women are out of the house just as much as men. And so I think at the end of the day, it's mutual respect and seeing what each other go. The other thing is, the sure way to stay married is to make sure that your partner is happy.
So how many times a day do you say, sorry, sir?
Let's keep that out of it.
Okay, listen, I'm going to come back to you guys, I promise. There are some questions on social media. So there's a lady called Shalini, and she says, how much money did you require for this venture? Is Shalini here who posted this on social media? Are you here, Shalini? No, okay. She must be somewhere. All right. So how much money did you require for this venture is a question.
So, you know, this has been almost 3 years. And I can't answer that because we're having diligence from investors and all that. But the point is, let me put it to the audience. How much do you think we've spent? This is important because when I went to the West and they asked me how much, number one, our cost of doing business in India is far lower than what it would be in the West. And the quality of the production and the software and everything is on a different level. And so the ability of us to produce in India, and this is why things are outsourced, right? But if we produce it for India at those same really good rates, we can give it back to our own population. And you know, what he was talking about, 700 rupees for a dance lesson per hour is what you pay normally. We charge 120 rupees per month, and there's 150 classes available, right?
Wow, wow.
And so, you know, this is disruption on a different level because what you're doing is allowing people to learn for a very nominal amount. And it doesn't sound like much, $1 or $2, but when you think only 2% have credit cards here in India, and then over and above that, very few have debit cards. How do you make payment gateways? So there's lots of different problems which pop up in India that you don't see in the US. The US, no problem. They put it through Apple Pay, they put it through this, they put it through that, and they pay us. In India, it's a little more of a struggle, and so we have mobile gateways, we have all kinds of things. So to answer your question directly, I can't, but suffice it to say...
I promise I won't tell anyone else.
It's substantial, but not too much.
Okay. Doc, you really know how to evade questions. Okay, now there's one more social media question, and then I'll come to you, sir. Madhuri, how did you manage your family in this venture together? How did you do the balancing act?
Why is the girl always asked this? Why is the woman always asked this question? You have to ask...
Okay, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to fire this guy called Ajay who's given this question. Where are you, Ajay? Where's Ajay?
He's not going to reveal himself now.
He's Ajay. Okay, so should we throw this question to Dr. Nene?
I think it's a balancing act for both, whether it's a woman or a man. I think he loves the kids equally as I do. And there's always guilt on your mind when you've left your kids and you go to, work or do anything. But for me, you should know your priorities. You should know what your priorities are and how you're going to plan your day. And planning is very, very important. So organization, discipline, planning, all that comes into play when you really want to manage your career, your home, everything, and keep a balance.
I mean, let me just say one thing. I think all of us face the same issues, whether it's man or woman. In the US, when I was in the operating room, working sometimes 120 hours a week, whatnot, I would always worry about my kids and Madhuri. When we're here, I'm in the office or I'm creating something and she's in the studio and the kids are at school, right? Then when they all come together, we're one family. But I think balance has to be the key because lifelong, the kids don't get another childhood, all right? That's a finite thing. And if you forget that, I think you've lost the plot. So it's very important for both of us to focus on that and make sure things happen. And we support each other. She's working hard in the studios. I try to get out of my office and work from home or do something like that. Or if I'm working and we have a deadline or we have a build or we have some kind of campaign that we have to finish, she tries to do that or we bring the kids to work or on the set. So I think it's the same challenges everyone faces. And I think it's one where you have to balance.
In fact, TiCon Mumbai 2016 is also about women empowerment. So from all the men to the women here, lots of love and respect. A round of applause for every woman here. Thank you for being our strength. Yes, sir.
I got a question. I know we've run out of time.
No, you got more time. That's why I'm here. Don't worry. So, who's going to shout Dance with Madhuri loudest? Come on, it's still on. The gentleman with that cap, the hat, whose face I can't see. Ma'am, you can give him the mic. Maintain 5 feet distance.
Hi, I'm Raj Sharma. So my question is to Dr. Nene. In terms of healthcare, is there going to be, may not be something like operate with Dr. Nene, but something...
Sorry, what was that? I want to hear that once again. What did he say?
DWM won't translate into an operate with Dr. Nene, but similarly, as a community approach, how much of healthcare application does this concept have?
So it's a great question. Just to speak to what you were just saying, I was playing with a virtual reality unit in the Bay Area, and I tell you what, I could teach you how to operate with that unit, but that's not what I'm going to do. The key is this, right? That health is all about you and me and the commitment to making people better. And in essence, it's about this redefining what medicine means to each of us. If it's a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, what if you could redefine what the essential understanding of medicine was by making it a holistic part of your life? And if you could gamify how you get better, what you do, it takes 21 days to make a habit, right? If you can change how people think and do it through a combination of gamification and socialization, you could potentially prevent, early recognize, and early treat things. One of the biggest problems I had as a heart surgeon was that I could, if not cure, at least save people from certain death in some cases. What I couldn't do was turn back the clock 25 years to when they started misbehaving. And the frustration was that they would do fine through the case and afterwards and get back to their old habits. So how do we make a difference? So how you use this platform, whether it's dance, I strapped a heart rate monitor onto her during dancercise. Her peak heart rate in 15 minutes was 130 to 160. She'd lost 400 calories. We put that on our YouTube channels, found that was our #1 viewed lesson. Now we're trying to put wearables into the system so that when your profile pops up and you work out, you see 400 calories allotted to your profile. Now, if you have 150 followers, they all see that too, and they say, wow, you know, this person just worked out, lost 400 calories on dance size, maybe I can do that too today. And so the idea is, how do you make it go viral? my view is this, that medicine is not just about curing people with medicines and with knives and things like that. I can do that very well, thank you. But the real key is to help people change their mindsets and dispel old wives' tales and make this a different planet where we all help each other out through hard times.
Sorry, thank you so much. We were running out of time.
We were earlier talking about the future of surgery is no surgery. And are you saying that this would be more like a prophylactic kind of activity or behavior that would...
Dr. Nene, we got 30 seconds, so
okay.
Go for it.
So it's three things: prevention, early recognition, early treatment. So you may need a surgery, but if you do it earlier than when you have a massive heart attack, your outcomes are going to be much better.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nene. Thank you, Madhuri. Thank you, Desai, sir. People like him and me are beyond medical help. But thank you so much. Dance with Madhuri rules. And people like me with 120 rupees can afford it, sir. A memento from us, from Mr. Desai and the entire Tycon Mumbai 2016 team.
Now you guys know I'm an investor in this and the chief medical officer on this device. You're welcome.
Really, really pleasure chatting with you. Can you keep the applause louder for them? And you know what? Appreciate the fact that you've not been well, but your energy was still so infectious. So thank you so much. And Dr. Nene, I'll come to you for medical help. I need it very badly. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madhuri Dixit and Dr. Nene.